3, 2, 1.
And action.
Action.
Songs with the word action in.
Top 5.
Immediate derail of podcast. Not even started. Top 5 bath mats.
Is there any songs with the word action in?
The
Time for action.
Attraction, does that count?
No, completely different word.
Well, with the hyphen, obviously, Chris. I'm not heathen.
Action. It's a good word, action. Why is there not songs with the word action in?
You're the guy to do it. You're the guy to make it. Then they'll think, oh, where's Robbie Williams singing about a song about action? This is his worst release to date.
Tweet us in some action-based songs.
Yeah.
Right,
Hashtag
listen.
action.
No, let's just fucking shut up now because we have just done a whole hour with our guest Jordan talking about Chris's enema that he done at home.
Yep.
And we literally done... anyway, and Jordan, tell us a bit about what you've been up to over the last 10 years, which we squeezed into about 5 minutes. So when, oh, hang on, there's a bee come in the bar, and then a bee come in, and we had a scene with a bee in a cobweb with a spider. Jordan dealt with that. Yeah, stepped up and saved a bee.
Yeah.
We don't know if the spider's since perished. But yeah, so in this episode,
He's fasting now too.
we will be getting round to Jordan's top 5 comedians that are currently with us that haven't perished. Mm-hmm. And should we just go straight in? Are they in order?
Yes, 5 to 1.
Right.
Yeah.
So as in like number 1 is your most favourite or
Yeah.
favourite?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know the format of the show, boys.
Yeah.
I'm a
I know.
fan.
Well, no,
You
sometimes
pretty much directed the last one because I was fucking pissed out my face and it was one of our first ones. So
We should mention, shouldn't we? Yeah,
loose around the edges.
we went for it once before, but now I'm back. And I'm really grateful to be back because while that was a one-of-a-kind night, that's
it was
amazing.
It was surreal.
I love spending time here. I was the one that pulled the cable out, so we'd have to record again. I love it here.
It's good fun, isn't it?
Oh
Yeah.
god, that last one we did was fucking amazing. I mean,
I
we've
got
got it
drunk
sort
a
of
lot.
half recorded, and it's one of those ones that could one day pop its head out.
It's a little lost gem.
But
of,
it's riotous.
Chaos.
The things that happen in that, you lose your marbles stew in it. You had to leave, didn't you? Because you were laughing so much, and then didn't I then with the second part?
Everyone left at some point.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a weird.
Yeah, I lost my shit when then I started talking about my deceased grandmother, to which you found the most funniest thing you'd ever heard, and our friend Ben, who was here, had to leave the room because he was in hysterical laughter at me telling a poignant story about my grandmother that passed away.
I was trying to explain though to Chris on the way to give him some comfort. It was a weird sense of camaraderie of like, we know you're not laughing at the content.
Yeah.
But you're laughing at the situation that you're in, and they escalated.
There was
too
an element
much.
of like kind of some kind of
Hysteria.
weird cabin fever in here,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
it got hysteria.
Yeah.
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 It
We
was
all
good
lost
fun.
our marbles.
It was
I
good
don't know
fun.
what was in the water that night,
But what's made it even easier is that sometimes, like with people like yourself, I know you, but Chris didn't know you, and it is quite nice sometimes when it once you know everybody knows everyone, you generally find that these flow even easier, and
Have
it's
you
like
thought,
everyone feels more relaxed.
Well, have you thought about adopting that principle for every guest? You have
Yes.
one fake one,
Yeah,
and then
Well,
re-record.
Brett can't say no to things, can he? So we told him that he will be coming back every week.
Yeah, we're like, he's an honorary guest.
yeah.
We're abusive to some guests.
Yeah.
I love those episodes. I know I said that in the last one, but those were so funny. Those Brett Goldstein ones.
Yeah, he's a fucking funny dude.
Yeah, if you didn't listen to it, I don't know why, you slags.
Yeah, you fucking pricks.
go
Fan.
and,
You're not fans of the podcast.
Yeah, go and download that one.
Yeah,
because
and
it's
buy
good.
And buy some of our t-shirts as well.
We can
yeah.
talk about all of that on the
Intros.
Good to see that none of us are actually wearing them. We could have worn them this evening, couldn't we? Seeing as that it's on camera.
Yeah, I'm repping the,
you're
the
repping
distraction
Pip.
pieces
That's
in a
good.
way by extension, but I appreciate. Yeah,
That's
you
good.
could bring
Pip's
out
getting
a.
paid, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
He's going to eat off of that, and you know we're going to be.
Is-
I'm
Well,
not
I'm-
eating anyway.
I'm
but,
game.
that Jap was it sushi? Is a special?
Oh yeah, when they lay them out like that. Now I'm a vegetarian.
Not sure.
That's why I saved the bee.
Seems a bit naughty, doesn't it? Eating food off a naked person. Really,
Yeah.
But never say never. So, actually, we are. We've not even started again. We've not started. We keep on derailing.
Oh, what's number 5?
There's a fucking bear in the garden. Quick, Brad, get out there. Do you want me to put on this bear suit? Fight it. Sorry about the levels.
Oh
We're
no, 2
screaming
more
to-
fifths just come out of Chris's arse. That's it. You have to listen to the last episode for that
To know
reference.
about the other
So there
3
you go.
fifths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If this is your first episode, guys,
Exactly.
check
Go
out the
back
back
and listen
catalogue.
to
Dial back.
a breakdown of Chris's enema. Right, for crying out loud, number 5.
I just go boom, boom, boom now. See ya. Right. My first comedian, right, we can get our little teeth into this one. Comedian that's still alive, very lucrative and bringing out a lot of stuff all the time. Mr. Joe Rogan.
Yes.
Right. And I think it's a good place to start and also to give some context. I'm a transgender person. We mentioned that in the last one. I don't need to explain what that is. So it's 2017. Right, so my point is that everyone on this list, bar one, I love them, and yet some of their material is still inherently a little bit transphobic. And the important thing there is that you can look past that and see that it's a reaction to what's going on at the moment. The bit I'm referring to with Joe Rogan, if you might have seen it, is when he's doing a bit about Bruce Jenner. He brings up Bruce Jenner a lot. Caitlyn Jenner. I mean, as a trans person, I do have to rep and say, like, that's called dead naming when you use someone's old name. Right. I'm really lucky. I had a gender neutral name, so I've never had to change my name. And it's where he's...
So what is it called?
Dead naming.
Okay.
Dead naming, yeah, like, because your name is dead to you, I suppose. If I was going to change my name, it was going to be Olivia. And the reason why is because I like the idea of... It's versatile, because you could have, like, an Olivia, it's really posh, or a Liv, who could get, like, rat-ass still and sort of whatever. That's
you can
it's the spectrum.
dial down the class, can't you? When
Yeah.
required.
But with Joe, right, so it's this bit where he's doing the Jenner sisters as these demons that are taking over Bruce's mind. And it reminded me of Bill Hicks's Goat Boy sketch, that whole bit. And it's so expertly done. Right. And kudos to him. It's an amazing performance. Really transphobic. And it's the reason why is because the joke is at the expense of Caitlyn Jenner. Whereas you get comedians. So this guy's not on my list, but Mr. Jim Norton. His most recent special is called Mouthful of Shame, and it's about his interest in trans women. But none of the jokes are at trans women's expense, or his expense for being into them. There's some humiliating stuff, but he's never like, "Oh, guys, I know it's a bit weird, but I like trans." So there's some comedians are doing it right, and some are slacking a little bit. I'm gonna let you guys talk now. This is your show. I'm sorry.
No. I find it funny.
We're
completely
Rogan
agree,
fans,
and
aren't we?
Yeah.
I'm not too sure if this person's going to come up in your list, so I don't want to say. But I saw a few specials
I know
the
who
other
you're thinking
day,
of, I think.
and I was like, "Oh, this is good. This is good. This is good." And he goes to trans jokes, and he's a bit off key on it.
That person I know that you're talking about, and it's not on the list, so you can say it.
Dave Chappelle.
Imagine if it was. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
No, there's
He's been saying trans jokes. He's off the list.
Dave Chappelle special. Please carry on, because that's a really poignant observation.
Definitely. My favourite comedians as we go through this, my number one is
Jim Davison.
Phil.
Phil Cole.
is so un-PC, it's untrue. But you understand that he understands what he's saying and the offence calls, and he gets the beats perfect. And that's one of the most important things, I think, in comedy is, like, however offensive you're going to get, better be funny. And also, are you self-aware of how you're tackling that subject? And Dave is he killed it. I thought these two stand-ups were really good. These
Very,
two,
very good.
they're really funny, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, he's back. But he does a couple of trans bits, and it, to me, it was just off the mark. And I'm not completely. I'm not up to date with everything. I'm not the most culturally and up to date with everything and what's correct in society, as we're all aware.
Completely.
But even I was kind of like, I mean, that's not. And I was watching it with Pip, and the pair of us, like, we were laughing, and it got into that, and I noticed the pair of us were kind of like,
Yeah.
and we just weren't digging it, because I don't think he's kind of trying to make it inclusive.
That's the point.
Slapping and unaware that he's actually giving them a bit of a kick in. With a few of the side comments he says, it's kind of like, now that's how I know that side comment is your thought process, and it's not evil, but it's
Yeah.
it's ignorant and a bit.
Well, that's the whole thing. They're trying to tap into the common market or whatever, to their people and reflecting what they think. So he make a joke that he thinks his audience can relate to. He's off the mark. That says a lot about these comics' perception of society.
Yeah.
And like, it's that whole thing of like your Facebook feed. You choose what you want to see nowadays. You exit.
Yep.
So if all the people around him are telling him, yeah, that's what people are thinking right now. That's the state of things, and he's only reading articles that are trashing trans people. He wasn't deliberately supposed to be mean. That's the point. He was just trying to be funny, and you can tell the majority of his audience were like, "Oh, that's a bit behind. It's hacky. That's the shame. It's not even that it's nasty. It's that you're one of the best comedians in the world, man. Step it up." And then there's people who we'll get to later that are doing it right, properly right. Anyway, Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan.
So, well, it's weird with Rogan. If I imagine if anyone's listening to a podcast, then they're probably aware of who Joe Rogan is because his podcast was certainly a massive influence on me. I wasn't aware of Joe Rogan, the comedian. I stumbled across Joe Rogan through my love of UFC, and he's very, very knowledgeable on it, and he's the commentator for the UFC, and then from that started to listen to his podcast, and obviously he's a funny guy, and since found out obviously he's been a stand-up in the States for years, very successful, and and generally has lots of other great stand-ups on his show, on quite regular. A couple that I think are in your list this evening as well.
Oh, I imagine they probably are. Oh, yes, I know one of them to be for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, well, I love him for that. I love that he's always asking questions. I think he can be defined by that. That's probably his defining characteristic, is that he's always reviewing his belief systems and stuff.
Smart guy.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
What is that? What is that when you're self-teaching? What is that called?
Polymath, an autodidactic polymath.
There you go, and that's what he is, and he's an epitome of that. And you discover that through.
I agree with you, Chris. He's an epitome of an autodidactic polymath. Autodidactic means you teach yourself, and a polymath means in all different areas. Like poly being like different, math meaning areas. I don't know. But
you want us to draw a picture because you look confused. You look like I'm showing a dog a card trick right now. It's going right over your head, mate, isn't it?
I'm fine.
Yeah, he just.
I'm sorry, you're taking some kind of intellectual high ground on me when we've just spent the last hour talking about what a fucking dickhead you are with a jar of instant coffee.
Or how healthy I am.
You're a maverick.
Don't say that.
Enema Maverick.
That is a great name for a stuntman. Hi, I'm Enema Maverick.
Yeah, in the scat industry, anyway. Just when they're about to explode. And cut. Enema Maverick!
I'm so glad we're filming this episode as well. As a great accompaniment.
Oh, dear.
Sorry, I'm sorry for being horrible as usual. But yes, that is what Joe Rogan is, for sure.
Right,
He's not horrible. He's quite nice.
You've got,
Enema Maverick.
you've got to divorce the analogy of the scat go from that sentence. That's what Joe Rogan is. It's the embodiment of a scat.
So how did you
Scatman.
discover Joe Rogan?
I like a lot of my favourite comics. Bill Burr's another one, not on this list, but I found them initially, superficially, really aggressive. And then when I reviewed my life, like I'm becoming a stand-up comedian now. I think I'm in enough to say that I am an aspiring comic now. I thought it was really important to go back and look at the stuff that I thought I would never be interested in.
That's really cool.
Probably fell in love with Joe Rogan stuff. I mean, he's had a really weird, varied TV career, hasn't he? Fear Factor.
Yep, Fear Factor.
That one where he disproves tries to prove or disprove the Bigfoot and the moon landing and stuff. That's
I've not seen that.
conspiracy one. It's on Netflix. Other streaming services are available. It's really, really weird. But then I think now this podcast he goes the other way with it. He spent a whole episode, didn't he? He does a load of them on the moon landing and fossils and stuff.
Yeah.
And
with Eddie Bravo.
yeah, and disprove with it, sort of putting his foot down for reason instead of just a conspiracy for the sake of it. I don't know when his last special was. I say these are working comics, but he's certainly still producing content, and that was my main point. I want people to be able to go away and see these people and get attached to their journeys, not that are on the tail end. He's going places. He's gathering steam.
Completely. He's a forward-thinking individual. He smokes a lot of weed and he does a lot of lateral thinking. So he explores different possibilities. So a lot of people who are very intelligent are intelligent in a sort of linear sort of way. They've learned a lot and they can regurgitate that, but they're not thinking of different options and thinking around situations.
I
and
can
Joe,
see in
Joe
your
does
eyes, you're putting yourself in that category.
that. Oh, I'm a rat. No, I'm not. I'm a terrible linear thinker. So I'm all right at lateral thinking, which is great. It's creative, but I can't follow things through because I severely lack in the sort of linear sort of thinking.
Street
department.
smarts,
Yeah.
my mum used to call it.
Street smarts.
That's it. None of that book learning.
You've got street smarts. You're very grounded. And
Talking to
intelligent.
Stu, right?
Stuart.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you are.
That was
Is
a
that you
considered
saying
response.
that you're?
I love you.
Is that you saying that I'm not very linear?
No, you are linear. You're you're very logical and you think things through and meticulous. No, it's a good thing. It's a very good thing.
Have you just
I'm not slagging you off. That's just me being. I know it's weird. You're kind of like, where's the punch
Yeah,
coming
I don't
from?
know what's happening.
No,
there.
no. I generally think that. You know. Yeah. Do you want me to?
No,
Dig you
leave it
out
there.
now?
Leave it.
Yeah.
Number
right
4. No, so Joe, you guys are into Joe. We like that.
Yeah.
Joe gets
I'm,
the tick from
I'm
us.
not like his stand up is good. It is solid.
There. Yeah.
There's loads of stuff on YouTube with Joe and his stand up as well, and him dealing with hecklers, which is really interesting. Watching,
Yeah.
seen all that.
I feel like he's a perfect reflection of society at the time that he does his stand-ups.
Yeah.
Like, so he's being authentic, but he really is voicing what I think the voice of the people at the time that he does them, and I like that. That's really important.
Yeah.
Chris was saying on the way here, it's important that people obviously stick to their guns. If they've got an opinion, they maintain it, and then that's a good way of vetting your audience,
Yeah.
thinning the crowd to the people that you just want to be there. And he does that, but he's never behind the times.
Yeah.
Equally, never ahead of the time.
Yeah.
So that's why he's number 5 on this list.
Yeah.
That's a weird but cool assessment.
Okay.
Sweet.
Tell me that.
Yeah, no, good choice, and good chat about old Mr. Rogan.
That's it.
So shall we move? Shall we slip into number 4?
Why are you trying to be sexy now?
I'm the
I'll
first
be
woman you've had
sexy as
in
I
ever, no?
want.
Am I the first female? No, I'm not the first female guest.
Gal Porter.
Right, of course. Amazing
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah,
Go check
I
that one
like
out.
this. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a legend.
Yeah. But did she have her tits out at the time? No.
Did she have her tits out?
I
don't think
was
she did.
picturing
Yeah.
that she did.
That was an amazing episode.
It was really cool.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
was really cool, and we haven't heard back from
From Gail.
our invite to the pub crawl. But I haven't texted it to her. I just said check out the start of such and such
Yeah.
because we was going to go to a zombie apocalypse,
Yeah.
and then I was like, well, pub crawl.
Yeah.
And she's like, pub crawl, motherfucker. I want zombies. So
Yeah.
we'll have to arrange that. That's
I've been to that zombie experience. If it's the one you're talking about.
Oh, we haven't settled.
What, the
on
one
that.
in the shopping centre? The huge shopping centre?
It's underground thing. Serious though. They
Did you
use
go to the secret nuclear bunker one?
Yeah, I think it was that one. Well, it was outside of London, and it was they used rounds, like blank rounds with guns and chainsaws. It's serious. It was really serious.
Holy shit!
Yeah, man.
Gotta get
really?
on that.
Yeah. It was loud down there, terrifying, and it schisms off into 4 different stories, so you can do the same experience 4 times and get a different thing each time. Depends where you're parted in the crowd. It's a
right,
serious
amazing.
big
Did you
deal.
get a gun?
No,
No, but you can bring your own.
I freaked out. I got too into the story, and
Really?
I felt empathy for these people that were being torn apart. And there's at times where they cleverly go, "Guys, help!" And then you're like, "How?" And you're running around trying to get props and things, and you're invested. You're really invested. You can hurt yourself. You could hurt yourself in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like the Alien War that I
You
used to
don't
go
need to
to.
go to that then, do you?
I do.
That was the alien one was the one you got barred from, wasn't it?
I didn't get barred. I just
Went every week
I
to
got
the
sick-
point where
I
I
got a
knew
little
you
bit
were
sick-
and
I
didn't
got
like
a
you.
bit sick of me because I'd throw myself at the alien. Take me, and the alien would go, "Not you. Where's the plant?" But anyway,
Ingratiating yourself to the point where they think you're part of the cast is a little bit too far.
Go against its complete nature and go. You never saw that in an alien movie.
Just to give it context, if you're
never
listening.
second guessed its victim. I'm gonna fucking eat your brains, not you. And there's me going, get me. I'm really hollering into the microphone. I'm too excited. I need
You
to
are, aren't you?
dial it down a little.
No, you
Turn
ain't
it
having
down
any
a notch.
sugar.
It's that coffee enema, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're still
Try it.
churning out a 5th. You've got a 5th
You
left.
do look healthier.
I tell you what, before I picked up Jordan, I was fucking white as shit. I was like, oh no. I've been white as a sheet before during the podcast, but that's for another day.
Let's not talk about
Ironically,
it.
that sheet is no longer white. in the house.
It's brown and it's now guest sheets.
Who's at 4?
Right, so there's a female comedian. I don't know why I have to phrase it like that. She's a comedian.
Yeah.
Right, so there's a comedian called Maria Bamford. Right?
Right.
Maria Bamford. Lady Dynamite is her new series. Well, not new. It's newish on Netflix. And it's autobiographical, but with a sort of, I guess you call it magical realism. It goes in some weird places, maybe not magical. Her new special is called Old Baby. I love her because she just goes off on a tangent, and I think it's because everything that's coming out of her mouth is like a stream of consciousness almost. There's so little planning involved. She's 40 when she got her first, like a big proper break, and she's one of the comedians of comedy from that show with, so Zach Galifianakis was on tour. There's a few of them. Check that out, the Comedians of Comedy. That's an amazing. It's a documentary about these 4 comics that decided to do a sort of a punk tour. Sarah Silverman was a part of the same group, but wasn't on that tour. Right. Tig Notaro, similar sort of crowd. They all know each other. Anyway, yeah, I love her, and she's a bit underrated in my opinion, even in America.
Yeah, certainly. It's one of those ones where I had to look up Maria Bamford to know who it was. Last time round, obviously, and but when you look at her, you're like, oh yeah, she's pretty fucking funny, to be honest with you. But yeah, are you familiar with much of her stuff, bud? No.
In this series about her life, she does this scene, and it's a brilliant portrayal of the sort of surrealist comedy she does. She's in her place of work. I think she's a data enterer or something. And there's the guy by the water cooler, and everyone's laughing, and they're like, oh, he's like the Office like comedian, he says the funniest stuff. He's not a comic. He's just it's so middle of the road, boring stuff. And then someone goes, "Hey, Maria, you're a comedian, right?" And she's like, no. She doesn't want to get involved because it's so different. And they're like, "Go on, do a bit of your stuff." And she goes into some of her surrealist comedy. She's like, I'm expecting twins. I decided to call one of them Schkefaglafaganagan, and the other one the Golden Eagle. I know what you're thinking. How do I know they're both boys? A mother just knows. And to dead silence in the office, and they go back to this comedian. And that's the sort of thing she does. You have to be on her wavelength, otherwise it's not. You wouldn't enjoy it. There's bits of Old Baby where I lost my way. You can't pause it. It's like, I want to say The Wire. You can't leave it. You got to stick with it. But worth it. She's like, it gives me hope as well. They say comedy doesn't have an age limit. There's no expiration date. And all my favourite comedians, most of the ones on this list, they're in their 40s and 50s, and they're on the top of their game, best they've ever been, world tours and stuff. So,
Why did you decide to do comedy?
Because it's transient and ephemeral, and I love that responsibility of once it's done, I have to think of new jokes. I can't keep doing the same jokes forever. Whereas with the comedy, with the music, I write a song that meant something to me when I was 18. I'm 38 playing that same song without the sincere emotion. And it's a meritocracy. I feel like you've got to be funny. You can't fake being funny. If someone laughs, by definition, then you're funny. You made them laugh. There's comedians that I never will, not out of principle, I just don't laugh at. But they have to be funny because they're selling out stadiums and people are laughing. For example, maybe you guys have got people in your mind. Lee Evans. I have so much respect for that man. I've never laughed out loud at a single thing he's ever done. I just know he must be funny.
Yeah. And I know people. One of my exes was the biggest Lee Evans fan. And to be fair, I do find him funny. I do like his sort of a lot of his sort of slapstick behaviours and impersonations. I think it is funny. It's not like higher tier for me.
Sure, but he's doing
you're right.
well.
He does like.
He's got his comedy's physical as well, isn't it? And we spoke about this with
Ramesh and Brett on the Christmas Drunk Cast.
Yeah. He's obviously it's very visual. What a lot of he does, isn't he? His characteristics are kind of very key to his show.
He's catering for a wider audience than someone like Maria, who is very, very happy. That's a great bit of advice I heard, was just invite people into your world. In fact, don't even invite them. Leave the door open and do what you're doing, and people will wander in, and if they like it, they'll stay there.
They'll stay, yeah.
And that's
if they
Maria.
don't, well, that's cool. As long as you stay true. I mean, it doesn't mean to say don't ever think, oh, that joke was funny or not funny, but I'm going to keep on doing it. But it's your style, isn't it? And you want to attract people.
Yeah, maybe 3 or 4 times you do a joke before you decide to retire it if it's really not working. I got a joke that my girlfriend said was really boring, and I've made it work now, and it didn't get any laughs, and it was to do with her. She's from Czech Republic, and I go on there, and I'm like, oh, my girlfriend's from Czech Republic. I think she might be Chinese, maybe a bit Mexican, and then I say, oh, we visited her family in her home country last year, and it was snowing. I have thus deduced in my mind that she's not Hawaiian. But apart from that, I have no idea. And it didn't work the first 4 or 5 times. And it's only that bit of rephrasing it. And I stayed true, like you say, Chris. I'm loving it, man. I think it's going all right.
How many you done? How many sort of...
4 stand-up sets. Yeah. And I'm introducing comedy to the rest. Things are going super... Oh, Stand and Calling Festival. I'm doing comedy at Stand and Calling this year. So that's really cool. So I've got like Grace Jones and Chainsmokers. I'm behind her doing my mime. No, I'm not doing it. So I'm in the comedy tent. I'm lucky, aren't I? Because I've just been on reality TV. Well, not just, but you get afforded a lot of like. Well,
you get a bit more,
let's pass it around to someone gets the answer.
You get a.
Well, no. I mean, you was
privileges.
Paloma,
Team Paloma on The Voice. Yes,
she's very, very kind of colourful and eccentric and
very intelligent woman as well.
Grace Jones is different level though, isn't she?
Oh, yeah.
You're going to get to see Grace Jones, like, that's different level. Like, that's groundbreaking.
She's fierce.
Like, total diva.
Do you remember when she did the hula hoops at the Queen's Jubilee, singing? Amazing.
Oh, mate, that was...
And that's not even top 10 weirdest things she's ever done.
No, but that was just impressive.
She put a book out last year, and I've not read it.
Cool story. So, number 3.
And then... You've been waiting ages to say cool story, ain't you?
Cool story, bro.
Yep.
I drop cool story, bro, pretty much once a day during our phone calls because you tell me something really uninteresting.
Stop fucking phoning me every 5 minutes.
He's trying to do his enema, Stu. Leave him alone.
Oh, God.
Hello.
Again, this medium wouldn't work without the YouTube. It's so much improved.
I chose not to go with Grace Jones's book and... for my recent holiday, which I will tell you about the holiday at some point, but that's a podcast in itself on how bad a holiday can be. But I went for Belinda Carlisle's.
Oh, right, okay.
I can't recommend that enough.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I did have a crush on
she was lovely. But I
love that. You could feel that was going to go 2 ways. It went to the really nice, it imploded into really polite.
She's lovely. And she's, but my God, did she do some drugs? Like, the most insane party girl you have ever met.
No fucking
Well, she was in the Go-Go's. I don't know if you know about who the Go-Go's are.
I've heard a few bits.
They were like, you haven't, have you?
Just on the grapevine, you've heard a few.
Go-Go's were like...
I've seen a few of their movies.
They were like a kind of early 80s kind of girl pop punk kind of.
I'm loosely aware.
Belinda Carlisle. Remember?
With the singer.
Loosely aware.
With Jane Wilding. Remember Rush Hour? Rush Hour?
No, I don't. No,
well, I'll stop talking about that book anyway because it's got nothing to do with
go
the
on.
podcast,
she was a party animal. I never had her down for that. She looked kind of wholesome, but maybe that's just because the ones I saw were maybe she was older when she was doing her own stuff, and it seemed more wholesome. What was that circle in the sand or something?
Yeah, I think she stopped being like an absolute cocaine fiend. Maybe 7-8 years ago.
No,
like from the age of like from the Go-Go's in the early 80s right the way through. It was bananas. Like, yeah,
really down too wild.
Yeah.
Bananas.
Well, for read. Anyway, look, we're digressing yet again.
It's easy though, isn't it? It's easy to let our minds wander.
So Maria
Bamford. I won't say too much more about her, but I do recommend people go and check her out.
And what's the best thing to check her out on?
Oh, that TV show first before the special, because that's like taking a big chunk and going in heavy.
And that's on Netflix.
Both on Netflix. Old Baby is the special, and Lady Dynamite is the series, and it's autobiographical. She went into an institution, like came out again, not drug related, just psychological related, and it's amazing. She draws tragedy from that. Patton Oswalt is another one of the people. He's in it as well, and he was one of the comedians of comedy. They've changed my life. These people, like, so I speak about them with a gravitas if I could, but I'm still learning.
Speaking of rehab, you didn't respond to that thing I took a picture of the other day regarding Ant or Deck going into rehab for drink.
I think I must have missed it.
think it was Ant, wasn't it? Ant McPark then.
I was busy not eating.
I'm sure it's quite sad whatever's happening to him. But I think one of the tabloids put the story out, and my mate decided to read all the kind of messages of support and so sad, be strong and stuff like that. Someone put on there. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. When he was a younger guy, he had an awful paintballing accident and bounced back from that, so I'm sure he'll do it again. Which I just thought was inspired. And this person straight away just went, "It's no laughing matter." And I was really straight at him, and I just thought, if he typed it, when he typed that, he must have just clicked enter and just thought, "Good work."
Is that a Biker Grove reference? Oh, right. Okay.
He got shot in the eyes, didn't he? Went blind.
Yeah.
That anyone who's running a paintball company at that time was like, "What are you fucking going on about?" Like 2 paintballs hit him. The second he takes his glasses off, 2 paintballs hit him like that, straight in both eyes. It's absolutely ridiculous. And at 9, it was horrific.
Right, let's. I might have a picture of that on the.
Mate, I love the fact someone left that in the comments. I don't know what I prefer, like the fact that someone's completely switched on and articulated that and thought, there we go, or someone who completely thought that happened.
Yeah, I was along for the ride until I realised I just picked up the Biker Grove thing.
Spooky. You right there, mate? Just checking your phone.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, we don't want to
What's happening on Instagram?
diverge.
He was he was involved in a horrific paintball accident when he was young. He showed great strength to come back from that. I'm sure he can do it again. Look, I like a laugh as much as anyone, Dave. But I'm pretty damn sure jokes like this aren't very appropriate at this just in time.
That's amazing.
Oh, mate.
There we go, the comedy police. Save the day again.
Absolute gold.
I love it.
Okay.
Shall we move tiptoe on to number 3?
Number 3 is, so we've recorded this a few times. This is the I was going to say the penultimate time.
Yes.
No, it's not. It's the final time.
Yes.
We don't want it to be the penultimate time. This is the only one I've changed from that last time.
Okay.
And I was umming and ahhing, but I can't not say Louis C.K. Just can't. Is not only is he crushing it by virtue of his skill, not just he's worked so blooming hard. His philosophies are amazing. But he's the only one of only a few comics that I can say is dealing with transgender material the right way. It's just funny. It's just funny. I can't fault it.
Dude.
Yeah.
He is, and he is dealing with the material in the right way.
Yeah.
And I think, is he the world's? Obviously, Kevin Hart's the biggest, probably in terms of financial.
I think he's
success
the
at
highest
moment.
earning. Yeah,
definitely
Kevin Hart.
smashing it. But I would say number 2 would probably be Louis C.K. at the moment. Maybe.
Yeah, and Bill Burr is being described as the new Louis C.K., which is weird because Louis is going strong. That 2017 special that just come out, amazing.
Yeah, it's very
really funny.
Yeah.
I don't know what the TV show. Oh, so he just co-produced this thing called Baskets with Zach Galifianakis, where he wants to be a clown.
Right.
It's in this generation of sadcoms, they're calling it, which they didn't coin the idea, but it's these really dramatic. There's no laughter track, or obviously. And it's just these sitcoms that just go really tragic, like Louis
bleak
did.
as fuck. Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
really
he's
bleak.
the one that he punts a load of. Again, a big reason why.
Bleak or like
Bleak.
sweet and sincere or
Bleak.
Bleak, but the moments are right. So normal comedy, it pulls the rug out from under you. You laugh and you land really safely, and you're like, "All right, we're just along for the ride." It sort of doesn't. The moments are there, so you need them to happen. You're waiting for them. You're asking for a bit of relief. The episodes don't always end with a nice resolution, or a cliffhanger. Really weird, actually. But I would super recommend it.
Which is the sign of an excellent series, if you ask me.
Right.
If you need to put some like candy sweet little tempter, come back next week, then how strong is your story? No, I think 24 is a good example of that. 24 was very good to start with, I hear. I've seen it. But then it's like, oh, you got to de-arm the bomb. This is what's going to happen next episode. You've got to watch it. But, clever writers don't always leave on a cliffhanger. They're like, there's enough. There should be enough there in the body of what I've done during that episode for you to go, I want to
Yeah.
watch the next episode, and also he's really brave because he financed his first sort of outing, which was Horace and
Absolutely,
was it
yeah.
Horace and Pete? I can't remember now.
So that's not too old, is it?
No, what,
That's
a
another
year?
one. They did an
Year and a
amazing
half?
thing with that show. So Horace and what
I
is it?
don't know. I want to say Pete, but I think I'm wrong.
It's got not Belushi, the guy from Boardwalk Empire. What's his name?
Buscemi.
But Steve Buscemi's in it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And they did this amazing thing where it's not got a laughter track, but it looks like it's filmed for a live studio audience. I don't know if it is. No, it can't be because there's no laughter track. But they put a laughter track in just to show us the psychology. It was like this scene could be so much more funny and easy, but there's no laughter track there. And it's really weird and dramatic. It's so cool. So he's looking like 4 moves ahead, Louis C.K., with everything he does. And his stand-up's perfect. He always comes in there's a classic line, like the rape jokes, like I think everyone gets one. Louis is the one that I just remember. First thing I remember him here is like rape is. I don't think we need to say that rape is bad, unless you want to have sex with someone and they don't want to have sex with you. Then it's the perfect thing. It's and that's removing it completely from the moral context.
Yeah.
It's just talking about it mechanically. We know he's sincere, like in his beliefs that it's wrong. He's a genius. He's such a genius.
I think he has I think why he's so successful is because he really has an honest understanding of humanity and humanity inside himself.
Yeah.
All the good and a lot
warm.
of the shit.
He's so warm.
He talks about being like how selfish he can be, what he's thinking about his kids, or how he wants, like when his kid got in an argument with another kid at school, and he's like, "Fuck that other kid."
Oh my
wants
God,
to hit
yeah.
him in the face, and he talks about
Gisanthropus.
he's going to make friends with the kid's dad and woo him and then have sex with him because he's prepared to
Not call him back. Yeah.
and then not call him back because he's prepared to confuse himself sexually to punish that kid. Well, you got to look after your kid, you know. And it's like he's
Such genius. He just gave a speech because when George Carlin passed, and he chokes up at the end. It's making me really emotional thinking about it because he says in it, he's like, "I'm sorry, I was supposed to end funny, but I can't right now." This is one thing that he's so sincere, and you don't expect that of Louis C.K. And the whole thing he got from it. Louis is famous for chucking out his material every year and writing a whole new hour. That's his philosophy, and that's something he got from George Carlin. And to see that heritage, especially, I'm like a baby in the comedy world. It's such a privilege to come in and I can see these heritage. Like you can see who came from what and from what. I didn't think I would. Like I never watched the Richard Pryor special in my life, thinking I'd need to, and I thought I'll do it for research purposes. And he is one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
And just Louis feels like a continuation of a great lineage. I just want to be near that scene of gold. So I have a lot of respect for the man.
Fantastic.
for sure.
Fantastic.
Poignant, isn't it?
Carlin's in my top 3 for shizzle.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
For shizzle.
Oh, we didn't say that, did we, in the last one? We listed our top 5 ones that are dead in the last episode, part 1.
We do
George
honourable
Carlin will be up there.
mentions, won't we?
Actually, maybe I'll chuck in a few honourable mentions now.
Let's do it.
Yeah? I love Alan Partridge, who is, of course, a fictional character.
Yep.
Steve Coogan's incredible, but I like Alan Partridge more than I like Steve Coogan. So I can't put him in there by good conscience. Also, I don't know what he's working on at the moment. I know he's always in movies, Steve Coogan.
Partridge.
Oh, of course, right, yeah. Scissored Isle, we've got a new thing. That's amazing. I quote Partridge more than anything my whole life.
Yeah, that and I won't say that one because it might be on your list.
I know what you're going to say. Yeah, that definitely.
But Partridge, if you ever listen to Drunk Cast, me and Pip quote it constantly.
You did it when we came in. You did the football thing, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
On the radio, so I've got this Phoenix FM radio show, and there's a blanket rule: don't go too Partridge with it because it's so easy to when you radio. And I came out of Eminem the other day. This isn't a Partridge quote, but it's as if he was speaking through me.
Yeah.
It was. So it finished. Guess who's back? Back again. Alan's back. Tell a friend. I was like, I can feel Alan coming through me.
Oh, let me see if it's on here because I can play it.
What's that one? The football one.
Real life Alan that I sent it to Pip the other day.
Okay.
I hope it's on here because if it is, it's pretty damn funny.
I've not caught. Not caught loads of the new Partridge.
Mid Morning Matters.
I'm sat on a load of gold that I haven't actually dug into yet.
I honestly would argue that Mid Morning Matters is funnier than Alan Partridge. I think the continuation is amazing.
Right, here we go.
Right.
Okay, so this is.
Please play a bit of porn on your phone, accident.
Right.
Hudson, and the man next to him, Stanley Lee, is second in command, which rather smoothly leads us on to our movie tonight. Second in command, only 4 words needed, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Action-packed drama, he takes on an entire country's army.
4 words.
Amazing.
Oh, dear.
That's very Partridge. It's great that he's such an iconic character that you can feel it just happening in conversation. Not a quote,
yeah,
but you're like,
yeah.
no, that's a Partridge thing.
Yeah.
That could come out of his mouth.
I see a little thing that Liam Gallagher had done an interview with Noisy, and I just caught a little bit of it, and they were talking about somehow Coogan come up in the conversation. He said that he partied with him when Coogan was partying hard.
Yeah.
In the sort of mid-90s, and said that they'd been out, and he sort of can't remember where we ended up, but it was like carnage. He said, like, I just woke up the next day and I was in bed with Steve Coogan. And but he said that
Fucking hell.
he said obviously we had our clothes on, but he said all I remember is him just looking over and thinking, who's that? And he said, like, literally, I think I could not think of a better way to wake up. He said he just threw the covers back and went, ah! And I just thought, that must have been amazing. But do you watch like The Trip and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. And I think that's another level of genius when you can be so aware of yourself that you can play an exaggerated version of yourself and dial it up and down.
Yeah.
It's not a super exaggerated character.
Yeah.
Like everyone that's in extras, right? All them celebrities, they play themselves, but really exaggerated versions.
Yeah.
I can't tell if I don't know for sure if Alan Partridge isn't the real guy and he's playing Steve Coogan for his life. It's amazing.
But I
Coogan
thought,
says that Partridge is there's a fair few, there's quite a lot of him in.
Yeah.
there was a lot. I mean, obviously that's Winterbottom, isn't it? The Trip, as was 24 Hour Party People.
Right.
And I think there was a lot of Coogan in the way he played Tony Wilson as well. I think it was, as much as I'm sure he was thrilled to get that role. But like there was there's lots of similarities in there, very egotistical and you know. But I think he's on Buxton's podcast. I think when Coogan went on there, have you listened to that?
No.
It's good.
Steve Coogan on Adam Buxton's podcast.
Oh,
It's
okay.
amazing.
Yeah.
Shout out to probably one of the best podcasts out there.
Heavyweight.
Sorry.
Go and listen to Coogan on that because that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so Alan Partridge.
Yeah, so my honourable mention because it's not real.
Yeah.
But I love it too much. I watch it more than any of the other comedians I've been on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, sadly, it doesn't make the list.
Did you watch
Because you've been
Saxondale?
tough.
No, I didn't watch Saxondale either.
So I love Saxondale. I thought it was cracking. It was a lot more sort of subtle,
Okay.
but yeah, that's worth a look if you're a Coogan fan. And yeah, that was brilliant. That was.
I do have this weird divide between him and Alan, as he does. I mean, that's his thing, isn't it? He's up on a pedestal now. But no, he's funny and stuff. He's really funny in Tropic Thunder. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he is very funny in that.
Other honourable mentions.
Oh, I think Jim Norton does deserve a mention because of what he's doing with the trans material as well.
Yeah.
And because he's on my new show. Go back to episode 6 of the Extraordinary Show on Mixcloud and have a right old good chat with Jim Norton. And it looks like I might even be going out and seeing him in New York. I do know him to be interested in transgender women, though, and he's very open about that. So maybe this is just a transatlantic
there's a
booty
bit of
call.
a red flag there.
I love him. He's really cool.
Come out. We'll get drunk and whatever. See
Yeah.
what happens. See where it goes.
He's
Can I bring my fiance? No, I don't want
no.
Just one flight.
One way. One way, yeah. But I think it's great. I underrated him before. Bill Burr is doing really amazing things. Another one I wouldn't have looked at. I thought he was really aggressive. And he's really open about... He'll try and deal with the transgender issue and all sorts of stuff. But he plays through the... He's ignorant, so other people don't have to be, almost. So people get to listen to him and they're like, I can relate to this guy. Let's work this out together.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. Kate McKinnon. It's really cool. Oh, my
She's
God.
good.
Yeah. She played the geeky one in the new Ghostbusters remake.
Yeah.
Loads of people, man, especially now that I'm doing it more and more. There's people that are coming up that are incredible. Goldry, Paul Goldry. I don't know. I've been really fortunate. I've got to hang out with a lot of people that are on their way up. And I hope to be one of those soon. It's going well. Come see me do stand-up, guys.
Yes, we really do want to do that. That'd be great.
Yeah. If you,
As long as you don't mind,
Yeah.
we'll sit at the back.
yeah.
I won't fast.
Like, yeah, like if you send us over some dates of when you're playing, then we'll put them up on our
be
social media
smashing.
as well.
Yeah, for sure.
That's really sweet of you.
We'll
Thanks,
holler
guys.
about it when we play. We put this
Definitely.
out.
Yeah,
And I
holler
think
at your girl.
hopefully we're going to put this one out maybe next week.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, it should come
All
out
right,
nice and
wicked.
quickly.
All right then.
Cool with that.
Yeah.
I know the other one we sat on for about 1 trillion years.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one I think we'll get that out nice and quickly.
So we're at
Three. That was Louis
That
C.K.
was
three.
three.
So Joe Rogan, Marie and Bamford, Louis C.K. We're climbing the stairs.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
2.
Right. You'll. I'm sure you guys can both relate. Always been a hero of mine, Mr. Ricky Gervais.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Stu, you came in quick there. What's your experience of Ricky? What's your favourite stuff of Ricky's?
Watch out, because he's now going to do a bit of name dropping. Oh, you used to be my manager. Oh, he managed my band.
Stu, stop and let Chris speak. Okay. Chris, please carry on.
Bang on that impression.
Go on, Stu. No, this is a good, cool story. It is cool.
Yeah, well, I think I said about it on the Drunk Cast, haven't I? But
It's for new listeners.
But yeah, Ricky used to manage my comedy band, and he wasn't really doing comedy then. He was a promoter and a band manager. He managed Suede, and he was the Ents manager promoter type guy at the Ulu in London, good venue. And then I think he
Was he involved with Texas somehow?
not
No, maybe that's something else.
the hardware shop or the band.
Yeah, the
But
Tickle Brad over there. Right there, mate.
Texas home care, yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, he was. He then got a job at XFM.
Yes, and I would love that show. I listen to it almost every night. Yeah.
It was. He went to X when it was at Charlotte Street, when it was a real alternative radio station, and it was great. And then obviously, that's when he met Steve and Carl. And,
yeah,
and it all become
love it.
amazing. And yeah, he's done all right, hasn't he?
He's built an empire. World
Yeah.
tour now. What's it called? I love that they're always just one words, like
Yeah.
proper nouns, whatever. Like
Yeah.
science, animals,
Animals.
politics,
Yeah.
fame,
Fine.
and then this one's called. I think it's just called Earth or something.
Oh, right. Cool.
yeah,
Is that out, or is it just...
He's on tour now. So yeah, no, he's still
Oh,
happening as
shit.
far
Yeah.
as I know. He's still on tour. Sold out in minutes.
Yeah.
And the person at number one is admire. He's always been slightly ahead. Still selling tickets to a tour now that he's on, which I find really hard to believe. Anyway, so going back to Ricky, yeah, sold out in seconds. Incredible.
He's a global megastar, though, isn't he? Like he's,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
he's mega famous, and I think rightly so. He hasn't done anything that's been shit. Everything he's done, like The Office, is
Breakout, amazing hit. Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, it's
Like
that's the other thing.
maybe the best comedy series, in my opinion.
it's
Yeah.
yeah.
Just it was
Probably-
it set a new standard, and it's another thing like Partridge where it saturates culture and everyone ends up doing their own impersonations.
I have, bizarre enough, I've said it for years, but someone, girl I know, put it on Facebook the other day that she finds it hard to deal with people that go, I don't like Alan Partridge, or I don't like The Office. I find that really weird. I just think, I don't know if you can be my friend.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, because I just, when you get them people go, oh, you know, I've seen The Office, but it's like, it's a bit cringy, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, that's the
Like,
idea there.
you know.
Are you thinking that they're trying to hide that?
Yeah.
Well,
like,
they're announcing that they have a different threshold to you, so it is divisive, isn't it? It does make you
Yeah.
think, oh well, then we can't really hang out because I'm
Yeah.
going to say stuff that's as cringy as that, if not more.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out my way. And
it does mean I'm
and,
better than them, doesn't it?
100%, mate.
Thank you.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely,
Just
mate.
clarify, yeah.
Definitely, mate.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The other cool thing with Ricky, he used to be a performer himself, very much in a sort of David Bowie-esque sort
Yeah.
of vein. And that gives me hope because I've just come out of 10 years in the pop industry.
Yeah.
And I want to be a comic. A lot of them have actually used to be comedians. Lee Evans plays music still. Like,
Yeah.
Loads of comedians, I think, are frustrated singers. And I'm not saying you're a frustrated singer,
Just leave the silence there. Yeah.
You should have just held that for a minute. We should have tried to go for a minute.
Steve Coogan, Tony
Yeah.
Ferrero.
Oh,
Is it Ferrero?
Yeah.
Tony, what was his
Forever. I don't know.
yeah, Tony Ferrero, wasn't it? Was that? I can't feel.
Pantera
Him.
or something.
Vic Reeves, you know, Vic Reeves had a number
really?
one. Yeah, Dizzy.
Oh yeah, but he was a
And then he
comedian
also
before
had,
Dizzy, wasn't
before that, he put out the cover of Born Free.
he? Okay.
And so, you know, he used to sing a lot on their shows
Right.
and stuff.
Yeah, he did.
Peter Kay,
Yeah.
you know, look at Peter Kay.
He's brought out
you know,
songs since as well, like covers, hasn't he? Gosh, he did really well with that.
Yeah, and look at Car Share. Car Share's him basically doing carpool karaoke, you know.
Yeah.
There's a very strong link between singing and stand up in the sense that
Yeah.
I think that's a difficult but also hugely rewarding.
Yeah, did
means
you say
of
Lee Evans?
entertainment.
No, so Lee Evans was just one of the ones that I've so much respect for him, but he's just never made
But
me laugh.
he
But
sings,
sorry, but
doesn't
he
he?
does,
Like,
yeah. Sorry, yeah.
You know,
he
big
ends
one
the
of his
show-
acts was that Queen thing, wasn't it? Was it a Queen thing? I don't know.
He used to close with that, didn't he? Play
Yeah,
piano,
on the piano,
as
that's
well?
right.
Yeah.
He used to come on a stool and the stool would
Yeah.
keep moving. And my person that's at number one has brought out official singles, like songs by the Beatles, like re-recorded and stuff. So yeah, it's that thing of I've spent 10 years doing it, pop music, unironically, as a serious pursuit. I now have the rest of my career to look back and be like, what the fuck were you doing? Like, try to be serious and elicit this emotional response. But there's still a part of me that finds it very beautiful, tangible thing. So I want to freak people out like Bo Burnham. I want people to get to the end of the show and suddenly go, shit, that's real emotion. That's not a played thing.
And he's amazing, Bo Burnham.
yeah, I love
I mean, he was when I first watched him. I don't know if this is going back 10 years. That might be a bit far, but he was fucking young and super intelligent, and super
Yeah.
talented, and musical. And his stuff on Netflix is just, if you like stand up and you're not dialed into Bo Burnham, go and have a little. Go.
Yeah.
He's cracking. He's definitely in my honourable mentions. Maybe Jocelyn for a top 5 slot.
Sure, Tim Minchin.
Tim
another
Minchin, yeah.
musical comedian. That's gonna be. I'm gonna be a female Tim Minchin.
Yeah.
English female Tim Minchin.
I think,
Solid option.
yeah, like I just. So looking back now on what you've done in music, how do you look back on that?
Fondly, but I do think that I don't know. It's weird when it was never a question. I was always going to do music, and now that's now in question. Very much so. I've put it behind me, and it's weird that I've cultivated 10 years of fans, and now I'm going. Stick with me a little bit longer. I promise it will be rewarding. But obviously, some of them are going to disappear.
Yeah,
So
so
when-
into
so-
comedy and like your beautiful tones. Do you know what I mean? But, it's
But not
all-
just that. You know, you're a really good pianist, aren't you?
I'm fucking amazing. Sorry,
Right.
yeah, I'm all right. I'm good.
You are.
Thank you.
And
I've got to downgrade it more. That still feels arrogant. I'm average. I'm
Wow.
quite.
I
I'm
thought
not.
you
I'm
could say I've got to downgrade you. I'm a maverick.
yeah. Yeah, I do play. You know how that comedian was that I play all the notes, but not necessarily in the right order.
Yeah.
I play all the notes in the right order every time.
Perfectly.
But so you want to sit down now, and you've got X amount of creative juices, and like that time would always be spent sitting, I imagine, at the piano writing
Yeah.
songs.
Yeah.
So you don't do that now. You sit there and you write comedy now.
Yeah, but it's day in, day out. I don't.
You don't play the piano anymore.
I'll be playing the. I booked for the rest of the year to actually play at these prides
Yeah.
and things. I just got back from Barcelona, really
Yeah.
sexy. Got my new boobies out for Barcelona. Didn't speak any English. There's a weird communication barrier there. They thought it was like a political protest.
You generally find that tits will
They transcend language and
definitely.
species. In fact,
definitely.
do find animals flock.
They're wicked.
Yeah. But anyway, that was off tangent for myself. I apologise. Yeah, I love the piano. I love music. And the cool thing now is that I've now gone to comedy and I love music so much more. I was in the studio the other night after the show for 2 hours afterwards, just listening to stuff on their selection. Like, I'm not now trying to dig it apart
because
for hooks.
there's the pressure's not there.
Yeah.
Is it? You know, you can be so inside of something that the joy of it sort of disappears a
Yeah.
little bit, and a little bit of the mystery as well.
Well, yeah.
I had friends that had been in bands and stuff, and obviously that they were doing bands when I was doing bands, and I stopped doing music when I'd had enough, and I just thought, right, I've done everything I ever set out to do, you know, and them little bits were, I wanted to be on the telly once,
Yeah.
I wanted to have a record on the radio, and I wanted to get in a van and go and tour around the country, and I've done all of that, and I was happy with that,
Yeah.
and I had an album.
Yeah.
Like, and that was it. Whereas some of my people that were in that scene with me at that point, like, kind of got more bitter about it, and you know, they would kind of watch award ceremonies and like on the telly and go, well, fucking hell, load of shit. Why are they doing that? And we're not, you know. I never got that. I just thought, I've done my bit. Like, and
I think you write your own history as well, how you settle things and how you move on, and the benefits you take from it. And that is a fucking very healthy and excellent way to look at life, you know, and also going out feeling strong and confident and like, yeah, fuck, I've done well there, I've enjoyed it. That's a very, but some of your friends clearly haven't. They haven't had that closure. Yeah,
no, not at all. Well, and it's quite.
Trying to pre-plan your legacy is stupid and dangerous. Like, you think, oh, I want to be like Bowie. I want to go through these phases of my career creatively. I then want to do this and do this, instead of just letting it happen, or not letting it, making it happen and enjoying it retrospectively. Yeah. And I was a victim of that for sure. Like, I quit music really because I brought out a single, this new single after the show, spent more money on it than I've earned for like the last 10 years, and it's it's not going to come back through that one single. And I stupidly stepped out. I lost all the will to live, and I stepped out in front of a car, which is, I used to describe it as stupid, and my girlfriend recently corrected me and said, no, that's selfish is what that is, and she's absolutely right. It's so fucking selfish. But I'd left a good 40 yards between me and the car, unbeknownst to me, so it just ground to a very slow halt, which I found... Powers. Yeah, it was. And I thought it was...
Clean your windows, mate.
Well, I sort of thought it was the end, and it wasn't, in a very tragic way. And I just stepped on the other side of the road, and I was like, the only way I can get through this is to be aware of the ridiculous absurdity and irony of it all. I can't keep going.
Ridiculous is the distance.
Yeah. Yeah. It was mad.
No!
Austin Powers.
Yeah. Is that bird from The Voice?
Yeah. But then, and so... Yeah, right. So I went through that experience, reevaluated everything.
Was
like
that a watershed then?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So people always talk. I think you retrospectively try and find a moment you're like, where did everything change? But I knew in real time everything's just changed now. I'm actually going to pursue something that I feel is real. I'm saying something real, and it's because that last single. I shouldn't really badmouth it because we have to recoup the stuff. I'm wearing this hat now, by the way, that you can see. I've got about 400 of these in my shed. We're trying to shift them. So I picked one the other day. Maybe I'll wear it out and about. All this merchandise and everything that's locked down. So I wear it now as a reminder of that ridiculous chapter and how absurd it was that we put so much into it. Right. So Cav, your cousin, has directed and filmed like all 6 of my music videos. All first 5, amazing, all original ideas. 6th one, we suddenly had a budget and was like, oh, fuck, I've forgotten how to make a video. Right. We like muscle cars. People like tits. Let's have a room full of kids, like School of Rock style, because I can't have an original thought. This is all my ideas. And Cav graciously went along and did a very good job at making it. It's like 6-foot champagne glass with a spinning woman in it. It's like, this is all so cliche, but we're like, that's how you make a music video. And it's... I'm not proud of it. Like, I do love the video and I love the song. It's not me, but that's what I mean. I'm not proud of it because I can't feel a personal attachment. If someone else had done it, I'd go.
Yeah, that's key though. Cool. That's so true. That's so true. Yeah. Like, I think that's the fact that you're aware of that.
Yeah.
Ed Skrein said a lot of that on the Ed Skrein podcast with us, where he says it's got to be real. It's got to mean something to me.
If it don't, there's no fucking point.
It isn't. And
yeah, it's a means to an end that you don't even know maybe want.
Yeah, it becomes hollow, and people pick up on that. People sometimes are like, oh right, when you really mean something. And I think why our podcast has done quite well is because it is very natural here. We don't hold anything back. We spent 40 minutes talking about my enema, and it's very relaxed, and we don't edit that. And I think people are drawn to that because it is real. You know?
But when it's real, you either love it or hate it. Like, and I'm talking about like me doing this now. I love doing this. Like, but then there's other things I do that I really, really hate. But it's real though, and and I think if you're just doing something for the sake of it, there's no emotional involvement
because you just started and you don't want it to finish, or you can't let it finish. Yeah.
And I think like it's took me quite a long time to get to that point, and I think everyone gets to that point when I just think I'll just say no to that. I don't want to do that anymore because I'm not enjoying it. And it's what's the point? Like, you know, I'm not getting anything. I'm not being scared by it. I'm not being, you know, I'm not fearful of it.
Yeah.
I'm not loving it. I'm not laughing at it. It's not evoking anything. Like,
Completely agree.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
adding to a
so
legacy
think,
or anything.
yeah, you've got to be.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I don't
In
mind
the
doing stuff I don't like if it's part of if it's a. I just always thought it was always what I was going to do. Now,
And did you enjoy it when you was doing it? Because obviously, you know,
up until I loved the right. I have so much respect for The Voice, especially when I was on BBC. That experience. It's not a coincidence that I quit music on the most successful year of my entire career because I just hit a ceiling. I was like, oh, there's nobody up there.
Yeah.
This is meant. Everyone's just doing the best they can and not really understanding how it works. So I did love it up until I then tried to be the thing that I was supposed to be becoming. Yeah, that's it. I jumped to a place that I thought I was supposed to be, and I'm aimed wrong.
can I just say if like people haven't seen you perform,
Yeah.
you performing a woman's work, by Kate Bush.
Yeah.
With I don't know the great name.
Theo Llewellyn, Battle Round of the Voice,
Yeah.
2016.
You reduced Boy George and Paloma to tears.
Yeah, it was emotional.
Not because you was shit, like because it was fucking beautiful.
Thank you.
And I have
Thank you.
watched it a lot, and he's fucking beautiful. And that ain't an easy song to take on.
No.
And that's a brave step because you don't fuck with Kate Bush, and like especially that song as well. And both of you fucking smashed it home. And then at the end, the kind of crescendo when you step up and your voice moves up, and oh man, it's
And the filming for that episode, I'm really proud that they left it in. I cried my eyes out, and I was on not live, it was all pre-recorded until the quarterfinals, saying to Paloma, I don't want to be a parody of a woman. I'm a transgender person. I have to
Yeah,
live with that every single day. Don't make me do a song that's 2 times the key I
Yeah.
can reach. She
Yeah.
said, don't worry about it. So I did come out in lower than him
yeah.
at first. And the great thing about that was that there was no sense of competition. He'd do in rehearsal, he'd do an amazing trill, which is, like,
Yeah.
and simultaneously I'd be going, that's amazing, do that, and shit, you're going to win and I'm going to be out.
Yeah.
But there was no barrier. So we're both so proud of that performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. And I'm really proud of all that stuff on there. Last song I did, the song I went out on, Bruce Springsteen's
Dancing
I
in the
woke
dark.
up in the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was not Bruce by any stretch. That was a bit Morrissey version of Bruce there for a
Yeah.
second. But we changed it with 12 hours to go because it wasn't working, the other one. And I went out on it, and I'm so happy that I did because I chose it. It was straight from the heart. The band picked it up in 2 seconds. That was an amazing journey. If I'd ended...
You
if
done
I'd,
Deacon Blue, didn't you?
Deacon Blue is
Dylan.
actually my favourite. And I did This Woman's Work by Dylan, which is...
No.
Oh, sorry, no, I didn't.
Just Like a Woman.
Just Like a Woman by
Yeah.
Dylan. And I like that because it's like a coy almost way of... It's like
Yeah.
I'm trying to make it into a trans anthem. Be like, yeah, I'm not just... I am a woman.
Yeah.
But
It's like one of my favourite Dylan records.
it's a great tune, right? Jeff Buckley does an amazing version, and that's why I like it. Bit of
Yeah.
trivia. I got
And-
my inspiration from This Woman's Work by Gwyneth Paltrow's version. Believe it or not, she does an amazing version.
Right.
Obviously, I'm for Kate, but like,
As did, I think, was it Maxwell or was it?
Maxwell did This Woman's Work. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where Theo got his side of it.
Oh,
so big
really?
confluence of inspirations.
Yeah.
And I
that's,
did Shake It Out by Florence and the Machine as well.
That's right. That's right. Are we at the top spot?
We are.
Fucking #1.
Let's go straight to the A. What is it going to be?
That's amazing. That's got to be a running thing in the podcast. Straight
Yeah,
to the A.
definitely. It's definitely worming its way in there, isn't it?
Number 1 on my list, and he always has pipped it to the post. So many hours of enjoyment and inspiration. Mr. Russell Brand.
Yes.
I know you guys are.
Good
Big fans.
choice. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Going to see him next month.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Are you
would
going at Southend?
No, I'm away. Oh, well, I absolutely would.
Yeah.
I'm only round the
bugger,
corner.
that's all sold out, isn't it? Obviously.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
I'll just have to see.
He's gone through a crazy journey, kind of a similar trajectory to Ricky Gervais, in the sense that he'd go on the show. He had Matt Morgan and Trevor Locke.
Back on
That's
X.
fucking
Right,
brilliant.
yeah, exactly. On next, and now he's again. Now he's on.
X.
Oh right, yeah. So
Yeah.
sorry, he's and he was on Radio 6 as well.
Yeah.
I've got Trevor Locke coming onto the podcast as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Who's
so
Trevor Locke? Sorry, how was
he
it?
was their
Anyway.
sort of third party. He's
Yeah.
a comedian, kind of surrealist.
What,
looks a
when he
little
was
bit.
on with Matt.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
He's still got what's his face, hasn't he? The poet.
Yes, Mr. G.
Yeah, Mr. G.
Matt
G,
Morgan.
yeah.
They're both still on X with him now. Still up to his old tricks. The other day they went off topic a bit, and it felt like the old days because it's been watered down a little bit. I feel for
Yeah.
because of the political.
They still get Noel Gallagher on. Like,
Yeah, once in a while.
really,
Yeah, I think it was on our
Alright.
first episode. So funny. Like we remember all those like old catchphrases and stuff. They can't not pop up because they're just part of our consciousness
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, totally.
His specials are amazing. First heard of him, Big Brother's Big Mouth, and like most people, thought you're really annoying. And he's just,
Yeah.
I'm glad that I reevaluated. You can't
He's
not.
quite erratic and gregarious, wasn't he, on that? And I think that was probably. It wasn't that he had his own sort of show. I think before that, didn't he? That they were trying. Was that on Channel 4?
Yeah, Ponderland was one of his
Ponderland. It
shows.
might have been Ponderland, and then I saw him on Big Brother's Big Mouth. I don't know. My memory might be playing tricks on me, but
Yeah,
I was
same
kind of
time.
impressed. I found it funny, but I wasn't
Well, he-
drawn to it religiously every week that it came out. I sort of dialed in and out of it.
And he grew up literally 200 metres
Right.
from where we're sitting now. You know,
Yeah.
literally just across the road over there.
I always say that Russell Brand and Scroobius Pip were the two people I genuinely get starstruck around before I met them. And I think it's subconsciously because I lived in Tilbury, which is one town away from each of them. I was just sort of setting myself up for success that I'd bump into them. So it was like conserving my energy. But yeah, he's always and obviously first guest on the Distraction Pieces podcast was Mr. Russell Brand. So they're all tight knit. I'm just
amazing.
ingratiating myself with you guys now, bit by bit. My life has been me closing in on Russell Brand. I noticed this the other day. We share a makeup artist, and we talk about him sometimes. And then the other day, someone gave me his dad's number, and I'm sure they're
I've got his
strange.
dad's number.
Right. It's just like I'm wheeling in, but I'm not trying to. I'm just
noose.
accidentally a weird
The
stalker.
noose is being tightened.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you there, Chris.
No,
I'm just
no,
very
no.
passionate about
No,
Russell
no,
Brand.
he's cool. No,
Did you get to
he's a,
the-
yeah, he's
Did
a
you
guy
get
worth
to
getting
the-
passionate
Sorry.
about.
I think I spoke. Have I spoke previously about the gig he done for my friend
Yeah.
Right, yeah, in
Yes.
Gray's Town
at the
Centre.
Civic?
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah, it was pretty
just
dope.
what an absolute ledge for doing that.
He is.
And it was just brilliant. It was such a great show as well. And yeah, I've seen him probably more than I've seen any other comedian as well.
Yeah, I've seen
him a
twice.
lot.
Yeah. He's I think his stand up is wicked. I think he's really fucking funny.
And I like his views.
Yeah.
I just like
Yeah.
the thing is how he's evolved and grown as a human being. I love him for that, and I get frustrated when people sort of like. It's a bit like you know what you were saying about The Office, and people say, "Oh, it's a bit cringy." When people go, "Oh, not fucking Brad, not that wanker," I'm kind of like, I sort of half get what you're saying because what you're saying about sometimes he can be a bit, loud. But he's fucking brilliant, and I love how he is very much like Joe Rogan. I see those two very
Yeah, but
similar.
Joe Rogan is alpha male, isn't he?
Yes.
Right,
that's
that's
And
the
and I
point,
think
yeah.
that's the thing. The fact that Russell Brand, you will get a lot of blokes going, "Yeah, a bit of a fucking wrong, isn't he?"
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Doesn't hurt with the ladies, though, eh?
No, but
I mean,
and,
that
but- and-
guy's-
and again, that don't do him the favours, I don't think, because he's super confident. He's a proper funny geezer, and he's very successful with ladies, and people love him. And I think a lot of men don't like that because he's not that alpha male. He's he's
No,
flamboyant.
I think people get like I think alpha males and the towns I grew up in, definitely Basildon. That's flipping what their idea of what a man is on its head, and they're threatened by that. They see fear
Absolutely.
in it.
Absolutely.
And like George Carlin says, you're scared of the inner gay. Like a lot of the guys who are like, "Ruh, ruh, ruh," it's like you're scared a little bit of the inner gay, the little bit of you that doesn't quite understand it, maybe slightly
yeah.
attracted to him, and so you're like, "Oh, don't understand it, want to keep that away because I've always been sort of anti woolly woofters and poofters and Russell
Willy
comes from
Woofers,
that.
I remember that.
But that is kind of like
Yeah.
how guys get, and you're saying that you're such a good difference
if we ever
between
go
Joe
on tour,
and
can we call that tour Woolly
the
Woofers
Woolly
and
Woofers,
Pufters?
the Woolly Woofers tour.
Woolly Woofers and Pufters. That's a brilliant name for a tour.
Yeah.
Because only our fans would realise that we're not utter horrible bastards. Everyone
no.
else would be like, "Oh, fucking hell, what are those guys getting on about?" Except for people from Basildon and Grays and Tilbury will be like, "Yeah, the Woolly Woofers and Pufters tour is fucking." Yeah, they're ripping right into them, and then we go on, "Hi guys." yeah.
On the
brilliant.
I was just slotting that in there. The last time we attempted to record this, we were talking on a similar vein,
Yeah.
and as a trans woman, it's different for trans
Yeah.
guys. I get that. There's an inherent thing. A lot of guys need to walk up to me and announce to me that they're not gay before they start talking to me. And the main, I guess, the tension comes from you get a lot of guys saying, I couldn't date a trans woman because it used to be a man, and I always have to come back with, I'm sorry to blow your mind, but anyone that you've ever slept with used to be a child. And I feel like that's worse in some way.
Yeah.
Now, not
Is
that
it?
the Catholic Church would agree, but it's a lot worse.
So have you
that blows my mind because it's such an interesting explanation, isn't it? That people wouldn't probably think about.
have you had to deal with quite a lot of moronic shit?
Yeah, but it's really weird, the amount of the people trying to meet you halfway and falling massively short is funny. I'm a comedian now. I get fueled by taxi drivers' conversations. This guy goes to me before. He was like, I know what you're going through because I've got some gay mates, which is a completely different thing. I happen to be in. Right, here's the thing. I've got a girlfriend, right? So I'm gay because I didn't used to be. I transitioned into a woman and now I'm gay. I have to tick a different box in the gum clinic now. But he goes to me, I've got gay mates, so I know what you're going through, and he's got he's got a stoma, so he sounds a bit like Zippy from Rainbow. That's an awful thing to say, but it's just true. So he goes, no, Zippy or Bungle, the other one. So he's like, I think he's got a stoma. Anyway, he sounds like Zippy from Bungle, and he goes, yes, I've got... What?
One of them.
Right, yeah. But I've not seen it, but I know he's got something, and I think that's why he's...
Where they push the thing in and...
Like they're shaving, but not.
Well, yeah, he talks like it's coming out of two holes, I think. There's like a second echo when
like
he
a
talks.
dolphin.
That's it.
It's got a mouth and a blow.
I ride it.
No, you know the ones that go...
Oh, I see what you mean. No, not that. The box.
The Partridge
not the
one.
box. He's got like a hole because of.
Right.
I guess at some point they've had to add a thing, but he's fine. He's a healthy guy now. I know what you mean though. Yeah, the boxes. He goes, I've got mates that are gay and that, and I'm not gay. They always have to tell you I'm not gay, but sometimes when we're out and about, I think, oh, I'll be gay. You know, not like that, but I'll have a glass of wine.
That's quite gay.
Love that.
That's super gay.
I love that. That's his way of meeting me halfway. He's like, I know what you're going through because I'll sometimes have a glass of wine.
I mean, just to clarify, I'm not gay.
Sure.
They're my wife's. The pint glasses, they're mine.
Sure. Oh right, sure, yeah.
I'll just drink lager.
Yeah.
All right.
No, we only have lager, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Won't drink
that's
none
cool.
of that woolly woofter
Just to
wine.
make it, just
Not
to make
here.
it completely clear.
But yeah, coming back to Russell, I don't know. Maybe that's why I gravitated towards him because he's that gender fluidness.
That's what causes I think people are threatened by that because he's so successful with it.
Like the Mark Bolan type syndrome.
Yeah.
It was really Mark Bolan, but obviously the ladies loved him. I think like Russell Brand fancies himself a bit of a Mark Bolan. And yeah, this journey is gone, as you say, Chris. The journey is gone, and he's amazing. He's now studying religious, texts. He's in university. He's gone to just a normal university, not a famous person university. He's had a baby.
He's leveling up, man. He's been leveling up for years, and that's what I love. And he's open and honest, and he's candid about his behaviour. Even now, he's not perfect, and I like that. You really, he talks how he is in here, and how people can't be drawn to that is a thing, and he's fucking funny.
But let's not forget that.
He's not only really
funny.
good at stand up, and and
Improvising and confidence is there,
and getting people thinking about stuff that's not necessarily comedy at his comedy shows.
Oh yeah,
he's fucking great at that. And but even you look at him on like Question Time and things like that, and he's a smart fella. And the fact that he's got influence because, I don't know what the stats are on people that watch the Trues and stuff like that. It's
huge.
It's huge, isn't it? And we've seen in the recent election that social media and young people are key.
Yeah,
and they're rising up as well.
And
there's more intelligent arguments.
And I think that when you've got someone that is telling you. And I think fundamentally, a lot of what Russell Brand says is just think for yourself a little bit and don't trust everything that gets put in front of you. Do you know, question stuff. And I think, that is at the root of a lot of what he says.
Mm.
And I just think if someone that's funny, cool, handsome, off the telly is telling you to do that, a lot of young people are going to be far more, are going to be taken in by that than some kind of politician that looks like some boring old middle-aged
who you
geezer
can't
in a suit,
relate to,
who they can't relate to.
Who had had that sort of already, they were born into that class system and wants to tell us all how to live when they've got a really little idea of it. Russell's been a fucking heroin addict, man. He's had serious addiction problems, and he's come out of it. Oh my God, golden. And
he gave that amazing quote about the way people talk about him talking about politics. He said, when I had no money, they said I couldn't talk about it because I didn't understand. Now I've got money, they say I can't talk about it because I don't understand.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that is literally he's gone full spectrum. He now has the authority to talk about this stuff. My partner's landlord the other day actually shouted at me. I found it really aggressive because I was saying I love Russell Brand, and he goes, oh, that twat that told everyone not to vote like 4 years ago. Russell himself has since reviewed that, whatever people's feelings are about that. But obviously does show that people know that he has an influence. This guy's 60, 70 years old, this landlord, and he was really annoyed. He was like, I will never be able to forgive him for that. I'm like, well, he's telling people to vote now.
Yeah.
But
and that's okay for him to have that opinion.
Of course
then.
it is.
And like he said, and again, it's that whole thing of, I was very passionate, and that's kind of what I believed at the time. I'm more learned now. I'm grown, and that's not what I think now.
The situation has changed,
and that's fine. And what fucks me off about politics in particular is their inability to fucking just go, "I fuck that right up." I would much rather follow someone who's that candid. You know what I did that, and that was all really bad. Yeah, I fucked that up, but I'm a human being, and I've learnt from it, and this is what I've learnt. Cool. Because that is how you learn. Constantly being in denial is really the definition of stupidity. You can't grow if you constantly don't face your own shortcomings. And what, just quickly, you guys said something earlier, is that what I think makes him one of the best comedians, and what always makes a top-notch comedian, is someone who can be funny and political. Bill Hicks was a fucking great example of that as well. Like he would be ripping American policy all the time, and it was on point. And listen back to it now, and I'm like, Jesus, that's funny. If you can make that funny and people can learn from it, you're kind of feeding them their greens with a little bit of sugar on top.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's funny. It's also, is it true?
Yeah.
You go away and think about it. There's loads of stuff from the Trues to his book. To the podcast. When he did the podcast with Pip, my heart was in my throat because there's loads of stuff that I've been reading and following over the last 10 years that I've felt about, that I've believed, and I've been very quiet on and didn't really want to discuss it. And there's him talking about it, and I'm like, yeah, I completely agree with you. I do think that's the way we're going. So, good choice, Russell Brand.
Definitely.
Let's get that Essex boy on here one day, eh?
Oh, that'd be lovely, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be good?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All think about that.
Yeah. Hassle him on Twitter, guys. So come and...
What would he do? Top 5?
Top 5, his haircuts.
Yeah.
He's had some.
That's
He's
not
had
very
some
good.
barnets.
I don't know who would clarify. David Beckham might be able to do top 5.
He done Desert Island Disc, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he
did.
put those show in his
Really?
in his list, and lots of Smiths. And he got to interview Morrissey. Like he
Number
went
of
to
times,
Morrissey's
actually,
house, and like Morrissey don't give up that kind of shit for anyone.
No, he was very fond of him, wasn't he? Morrison was very fond of Russell. Obviously reciprocated, but
And
Russell used to keep thinking there was coded messages from Morrissey on his albums and stuff. Like after he met him, not before he met him. He's not mental.
Brilliant.
Yeah, he said one of the covers he's wearing a West Ham shirt, and he's like,
Yeah.
he did that because of me. Russell's a West Ham fan.
Yeah, there was a night apparently in a restaurant in America, and it was Russell Brand, Noel, and Morrissey, and I thought I'd like to have been there. I'd like to have had a beer around that table, I reckon that would have been a fucking fascinating conversation.
Russ and Mozza.
Yeah, I think I'd.
That or Liam Gallagher in bed with Steve Coogan.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Be in the middle of that.
Good show. Who will be your top 5 dinner guests?
Oh, okay. Russell Brand, Maria Bamford, Joe Rogan, Louis C.K., Ricky Gervais. I don't know. That's on the spot. Have we got time for a third hour? What about you? Go on. We'll do
We've done
right,
ours
if we,
previously.
it would be selfish for me to take up all 5 chairs, so maybe chuck in one each and I'll
Well,
fill
we
in the
put
rest.
up alone. You put fucking Tyrannosaurus Rex.
All right, different sort of context.
Switching it up. When I switching it up, he said his first option. Who was your first option?
You.
Oh, it was me.
Oh, that's adorable. That's
Me
restored
first,
my
and
faith
then
in
I came back to
humanity.
him and went, "Motherfucking T-Rex, bitch." He was like, "What?"
That's absolutely adorable.
Yeah.
It was.
Who did
kind
we
of.
have? Did I have Michael Jackson?
Michael
did we have Elvis?
Jackson, yeah.
I think. Did I have Gervais?
Mate,
You
honestly,
would,
I was
gotta-
pretty drunk,
yeah.
I think, at the time.
Yeah, we was really drunk when we
Yeah,
done that one. I can't think who else we said.
Actually,
I would
yeah.
definitely have had Morrissey.
Gervais, Merchant, and Carl, Russell, and you two. Oh, that's 6.
Oh.
Oh, I'm gonna have to leave one of you
We
behind.
we come as a pair.
All right, like Ant and
No, I
Dec.
mean, we come
Which
as a-
one of you is going to end up in rehab first?
yeah.
That's not funny.
That was below the belt.
That's not funny. He's going for a very testing time at the moment.
We hope you pull through Ant or Dec. What one is it?
It's Ant or Deck, isn't it?
Ant or Dec. I mean, they're interchangeable,
Imagine-
even with their predictions.
Imagine how many cards he's got in his room that's to the wrong person in his hospital room. You know that's happened.
Or cards that say Ant,
Yeah.
crossed out.
Or just a slash in there.
Ant Dec.
Oh.